When you think about the idea of finding your soul or trying to connect with your soul, just that very language indicates that we feel like our soul is somewhere else, like it's somewhere out there. We need to find it. We need to find out how to plug into it. And we always want to remember that you are your soul. Your soul is who you are. We talk about it like it's a objective third party to this conversation, but we do that because we're trying to wrap our intellectual mind around what is the soul and what is our soul and how do I connect with it. But we must start the conversation from the position of, I am my soul. My soul is who I am. It is the truest, most original, pure part of my beingness. So my soul is not out there somewhere for me to find and connect into and plug into. There is no out there. From a higher reality point of view, there is no out there. There is only in here. But when we're born and we, what I call, fall asleep inside the dream of being human and 3D reality and the physical world we see, and that's all there is, and we go through the 11 stages of your soul journey, what I call your soul Odyssey, whereby in the early stages we become heavily conditioned and identified with the small self, which is the mind, the personality, the ego, all the feelings running through our bodies and our emotional systems and nervous systems. And that has us carried further and further and further and further away from the awareness of our original state, our deepest, most authentic part of who we are, being our soul as the core original self. And so it's natural through our life journey that our soul will start to stir awake within us. And our soul, because it is not located inside our body, in fact, it is located everywhere and nowhere, what happens is that you will start to, during your life journey, have awakenings to awaken you to reconnect to the understanding that you are a soul, awakenings to help you connect into what your soul is, who you really are as a soul, and that will stir from within you, and it will also be stirring from around you. And those are things like signs and synchronicities, divine guidance, trying to get your attention because it's time for you to be more aware of who you really are, to step more into your soul's plan and purpose for being here. You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue. You can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you. So in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 powerful pathways that you can connect more consciously with the soul that you are. When you're a spiritual seeker, a person who's choosing to live a spiritually oriented, conscious, awakened life, one of the things that is the most common is it's like it's in your DNA to want to know the truth of who you are. And it's this hunger and love and joy for discovering more about the nature of yourself and the nature of reality. And part of that journey, which is really beautiful, is coming to understand your soul. What is it? Why is it? What's it about? How can you know it more consciously? And a deep desire many of us on the spiritual path have to live a life that is rooted in the soul self, that is anchored to give us a stable, safe, and expansive base from which to live our life journey, because we don't want to live in our mind, because we don't want to live in our feelings, because we don't want to live heavily identified with the physical reality as all there is. And so the answer to that is to integrate in and to come home to the soul aspect. And that creates a rounding out, that creates a balancing of all the parts of yourself. Because you are a human being, you have a mind, you have feelings, you have a body, you have an ego. You're never going to escape any of those things as long as your heart is beating and you're breathing, because that is the experience your soul has chosen to come to have. That is why you are here. You are only listening to this audio right now because your soul chose to incarnate and gave you a body and an experience on this particular planet called Earth in 3D reality, time and space, to have an evolutionary journey that I call the Soul Odyssey. And you are here with plan and purpose. And that's the only reason you're here, is because your soul's chosen to come here. But the weird thing is, while we're having that human being experience, we can live completely disconnected to the fact we are a soul, and that's why we're here. And when we feel disconnected from it and we don't understand that soul aspect of who we are, or we get lost in our mind trying to figure it out and find it, and we get all lost in the analysis and in the, the intellect trying to wrap its head around it, our head around it, then we create more and more problems for ourselves. And when we aren't really in an understanding of the soul we are at any level, it creates what I call the great separation, which is we're born into life, we've come from oneness, now we're in an experience of duality and separation. And the great separation is more than just I'm now in a body and I'm not in oneness. It's the separation from any of the truth about who we are and what we're doing here. And it leads to existential challenges like anxiety, fear, can lead to depression, can lead to all sorts of things, because we are asleep inside the dream and we're missing a huge component of the truth of who we are and what we're doing here. And so coming onto a spiritual path and being able to connect with your soul provides a great level of comfort and spiritual security and answers, and fills the gap and the void that many people feel inside, which sometimes for decades, we spend our time trying to fill that void with lots of things that don't work. Food, alcohol, relationships, love, validation, approval, awards, recognition, achievements, wealth, shopping, sex, drugs, all the array of things in this physical reality. None of which are bad and none of which are wrong in any way. But they just won't fill a void inside if the void is, I don't know who I am, and I don't feel connected to the soul self that I really am. Nothing outside of you can ever fill that. You can't fill a spiritual need with a physical, mind-based or body-based solution. A spiritual need requires a spiritual solution. So I'm going to give you 3 different pathways that you can walk to connect with your soul self, right? So remember, you are your soul. It's not out there, it's who you are, but you're wanting to experience that part of yourself. If I said, what's your relationship with your body self? You'd be like, well, I'm in my body. I see it every day. I know it. I know what it feels like. I can touch my body. I can, understand what it is. Well, what's your relationship with your emotional self? And you'll be like, I know that self too, because I have all these feelings. It's like, okay, well, what's your personality self and your ego self? You'll be like, I know what that is because I experience it. So what most of us are seeking is, when we're talking about the soul, is we want an experience of it. We want to touch it, to feel it, to sense it, to get a taste of what it is, because it's not at the surface level of our 3D reality. Now, you can use all 3 of these pathways, and you can use any of them individually. They all interlink, and they all will bring you closer to connecting with your soul, knowing your soul, feeling more filled up inside, if you like, with the soul essence that you are. The first of the pathways is what I call experiential. The second is intellectual, and the third is physical embodiment. Okay. So the first one, being experiential, is largely based around a pathway where you explore the expansion of your consciousness to tap into the spiritual dimension of who you are, your soul, or your higher self, some people may call it. This includes things like meditation, spiritual rituals, consciousness expanding techniques and pathways. Psychedelics could fall into that, sacred plant medicine, as well as things like quests, pilgrimages, working with shamans, working with spiritual guides, where you're having an experience of going beyond your mind, going beyond your physical body. So anything that would fall into that category is one pathway that you can take to expand your understanding and to have an experience of your spirit, your soul, your higher self, and the realm beyond the veil, the otherworldly, the unseen dimension of life. The second pathway for connecting in with your soul is intellectual. This is where it will take you so far, and I think it's very important, because I feel like when you understand intellectually something, you're able to more deeply immerse yourself, because your mind is on board, your personality, small self is all on board when you can wrap your mind around something. But it can't be used in isolation, because you can intellectually understand something and never, ever, ever experience it and feel incomplete. That's why intellectual goes alongside experiential and physical as pathways. So the intellectual is this: you study, you research, you learn, and you put together the pieces of the puzzle of what a soul is, what your soul is, who you really are, why you incarnated, what on earth you are doing here on the planet, what your soul's agenda, plan, and purpose is, and you start to see it playing out in the events of your life, and it makes sense to you. And that brings you this beautiful depth of understanding of being a soul, your specific soul, and your life in the context of what I call the soul Odyssey, which is the 11 stages of your soul journey. So for this element, the intellectual piece, I have a book called Your Soul Journey Simplified that you can get on my website for $5. Comes with 4 in-depth spiritual life coaching videos. It will take you through all of the intellectual aspects through a methodology and a framework that I've worked on for over 10 years that will actually document for you how to connect with your soul from this perspective, to understand who you are, what you're doing here, your unique plan and your unique purpose. When you have this level of intellectual understanding will allow you to be able to navigate your life with your mind on board and feeling more of a mind-soul connection. And that means you can take what your soul is here for, plan and purpose, and use your mind to implement it. That looks like making intuitive decisions based on your soul plan and purpose, and then your mind helps you navigate and implement, execute, take action, make good choices in your daily life. When you combine the intellectual pathway of studying and understanding your soul with the experiential meditation, quests, rituals, pilgrimages, sacred plant medicine, all of these beautiful things where you get to like literally sensory experience your soul, now you have this beautiful evidence of experiencing something beyond your mind and body, and you've got an intellectual understanding, and it starts to formulate this more complete picture for you of who you really are. The third pathway after experiential and intellectual is physical or embodiment. This is where you're going to use all of your being, your physical being, to help you connect into who you are beyond your body. Okay, so we've got movement, breath work, energy work, anything that connects you through the physical vehicle of your body to something greater than you. Breath work's really amazing because you can almost have out-of-body experiences when you do certain kinds of breath work. Yoga, Tai Chi, anything that involves movement and synchronizing the physical movement of your body with your breath starts to take you beyond your mind noise and beyond your understanding of you just being this personality with all these thoughts and all these feelings. Even something as very simple as taking your fingers right now and placing them on the pulse point on your neck or on your wrist and feeling the beat of your heart. Just that, connecting to the fact that your heart is beating and knowing that the only reason your heart is beating is because your soul is incarnated and is utilizing this physical body right now. The only thing that is animating your physical body right now, that has you be alive and that is beating your heart, is the fact that you are a soul. So if you want to connect with your soul, pause for a moment right now and put your fingers on your pulse and feel the beat of your heart pumping the blood through your veins, and know that that's an embodied experience of your soul. You're having it right now. It's that close to you. So those are 3 pathways you can use to start to connect with your soul at a deeper level. Experiential, you want to be meditating, even if it's only 5 minutes a day. Explore spiritual rituals, quests, pilgrimages, consciousness expanding, methodologies, visualizations, techniques. We do this kind of thing within the Soul Odyssey program that I run. If that's of interest to you, you can come over and visit me on my website, www.bernadettelogue.com. Within that, we have a module in one of the chapters of Soul Odyssey called The Great Undoing, which is a 6-stage consciousness expanding experience to have you merge with oneness, to have you merge with the totality of reality, going beyond your mind and body, expanding your consciousness to the total sensory experience of who you are. And 2, intellectual, study and understand the fact you are a soul. You can, with logic, map your soul journey. You can, with logic, analyze different sources of spiritual wisdom and know why you incarnated. What was your pre-birth plan? What is your soul's plan and purpose for being here? What is your unique contribution? What are your soul lessons? If you want answers to those, you can go over and jump onto my website, bernadettelogue.com, and grab my book, Your Soul Journey Simplified. It is a practical guide to purpose, fulfillment, and magic in your life by connecting you with the soul aspect of who you are. For those that want to dive deeper, come and join me in the Soul Odyssey program. You'll also find that at bernadettelogue.com. And for more spiritual, practical wisdom to support you in your life, be sure to stay tuned for future episodes. I'm sending much love to you. Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with Bea. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.